People think in Thailand, massage is only about this happy ending business.
You had a lot of health issues going on. You stressed from working at Wall Street. What happened?
I had chronic pain from my spine and back. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was burnt out from Wall Street and I wanted to leave Wall Street on my terms. My health became more important to me than the money.
So in this video, we meet my friend Peter. Peter is in his 60s, he's retired, and he's worked on Wall Street for more than 30 years, throughout the 1980s, 1990s, even all the way up to the 2008 financial crisis. He's had a very successful career, big house, wonderful family, but throughout the years, that slowly started dissipating. He was unhappy and his health was failing, and a lot of health issues. But despite everything taking a turn for the worse, he eventually moved to Thailand and eventually turned everything around. So in this video, we're gonna meet Peter and we're gonna find out how Thailand literally saved his life. Let's go meet Peter. The brief time that you and I have known each other, you've had quite the life story. Do you mind if I divulge your age?
Not at all.
You're the age of 62, but
Yes.
you look like you're in your mid to late 40s.
There's a reason for that.
And there's a reason for that. A little bit about Peter is that, Peter, you grew up in New York, New Jersey. You had a big, fruitful career working on Wall Street, especially during the time when you worked during the 2008 financial crisis
Yes.
and mortgage-backed securities. Your life, your family, your kids, your unfortunate divorce, and then you uprooting to Thailand and how it turned your life around in complete 180, especially towards your health. Without me wasting any more time, I'm gonna let Peter Brackman introduce his early life story, and if you don't mind giving us a quick intro about how you grew up and then how you came on.
No, not at all. Thank you, Forrest, for asking. I think my story is fairly typical as far as those types of guys like us who are divorced, find themselves single in our early 60s and want something different in their latter years and want a different lifestyle. And but my story is fairly typical. I came out of college in the early 1980s and became a software engineer in fixed income and on Wall Street. Worked my way up in investment banking, and by the 1990s, I was married with one daughter, and then we moved to New Jersey, and we had two boys, and I built my family in the 1990s, and very proud of it. We moved to New Jersey. We were so fortunate. We had a beautiful home, healthy children, great, just wonderful. It was my dream family experience. What I wanted to do was move to New Jersey, raise my family, and I did. The fast forward into 2008, you mentioned the crisis, and I had been working in mortgage-backed securities at that point for about 20 years.
Did you work as a trader for mortgage-backed securities, or you're more on the software side, in the back office end?
I was working on trading floors, writing software directly on the trading floors in the 1980s and 90s. I wasn't the trader, but we worked on the trading desk alongside the traders.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah, so.
So the 80s and 90s must have been a really hot time. Like
that was
everybody
a great
was
time.
everybody was making money.
I came out of college as an engineer and a computer science major in mathematics, and Wall Street was the place to be at that time. Fixed income, analytics, the use of software and computers to price bonds, manage risk, research, and I was so fortunate to be on Wall Street during that time. I worked in research departments. I became a published author. I learned how to write professionally, and not just software, but research papers, and it was great. I was working with so many talented people and such high quality leadership, and it was wonderful. I consider it like the golden age, 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s, the golden age of Wall Street and technology. I did so well, and I was so able to provide for my family, move to New Jersey and have that dream life.
Like nice house.
Everything was great. Nice house, vacations, summer camps for children, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, everything. We had it good. Yeah. Of course, everything was tied up in my career, and that was good too. And I had it well. We weren't overextended. I didn't have a big, heavy mortgage and a big crazy. We lived within our means, had a beautiful house. Everything was great. But the crisis did come in 2008, and I was a casualty at that time. I worked at Morgan Stanley. When all those thousands of people were losing their jobs on Wall Street, I was one of them. And eventually I did make my way back to Wall Street, I did whatever I could do to keep my mortgage paid, keep my spirit strong, my head strong. I did IT consulting. I became a financial analyst at Northwestern Mutual. Yeah, I did anything I could to get out of the house, put a suit and tie on, my networking going, and just my career.
Even when you lost your job, you still pivoted to different positions to provide for the family as best as you can.
As best as I could. And then when the opportunity came back in 2009 to join, at the time right now they're part of they became S&P Global. They merged, but it was Markit, M-A-R-K-I-T. I went back to work on Wall Street for Markit, and in their fixed income analytics area, and made my way back to Wall Street and reinvented my career a little bit and got back on track. But it was a jolt to my life and my family and my career, that whole experience, including the divorce.
Before we get to the divorce, I wanted to ask you this one question in regards to the 2008 mortgage-backed securities issue. Did the government force banks to give lenders subprime loans? Do you think that may have been the case?
I can't give you a good answer on that. Yeah. I don't know if the government forced subprime lending.
Or not forced, but pressured banks to give subprime loans.
I couldn't say whether there was any pressure like that. I can tell you, my experience was that there was so much demand for the bonds that the underwriting of loans seemed natural. In my opinion, the crisis wasn't just because of mischievous lending practices. There was demand for the bonds that were being collateralized for. Yeah. The whole circus was guilty, if you know what I mean, in terms of the financial structure, the whole mortgage finance system. There was demand for those subprime and all the bonds that were created off those loans and so on. It wasn't just predatory lending practices. Those lending practices succeeded in part because the banks were buying up those loans and securitizing them in one way or another.
The whole 2008 fiasco affected your marriage?
I think it was fairly typical. I think there were a lot of people like me who had difficult marriages, and the crisis burst the bubble on those marriages. Mine was similar. All I can say without looking too deeply into it was a difficult marriage, and the financial crisis shook her, and maybe she felt it was better to divorce and get her alimony and child support.
You guys had different conflicting personalities, and it's probably best that you guys...
I think it was a blessing in disguise because it forced me, hopefully her too, to move on to a happier time in our lives, and our children to see us happy and to actually be happy and the people we were meant to be. And often when we're in dysfunctional relationships, we're not our true selves. I was liberated after my divorce. I felt like I could be me and happy and healthy again. And
did the kids take notice?
Absolutely. And I devoted myself to health and wellness. I wanted them to see healthy and happy dad. My post-divorce years weren't easy either. Yeah. But as my sons grew and as my children saw me post-divorce, yes, they could see I was happy.
For post-divorce life, you were working, living in Jersey, I would assume. How was dating? Was dating okay?
I was one of those many people who, after their divorces, after being married, we were all on Match.com doing dating online, and it was not easy. I was raising two young sons, and it was easy because there were lots of divorced people, single adults, and so yes, it was easy to date, but it was difficult to have a good relationship when my sons were so young. Eventually, my sons became older teenagers. I had more time to...
Probably because you were balancing time between your son, devoting time to your sons, and then...
It's hard to really have, in my opinion, it's hard to have a proper dating relationship when you have 11-year-old, 10-year-olds, and you're doing everything.
It's a lot of time management.
Yeah, a lot of time management, every weekend and so on. But as my sons became older teenagers, and I enjoyed dating and I enjoyed meeting. It took me years before I had that phrase in my mind, if I'm still single when I'm 62. Because I didn't necessarily plan on being single at 62. I thought, I would date, meet someone, maybe even get remarried. But if I was single, I'm thinking Thailand. The more I would come to Thailand on holiday, the more I realized relationship I would want to pursue,
Yeah.
or lifestyle.
I mean, is it because that your heart was set over in Thailand that you weren't present when it came to dating?
A little bit.
Post-divorce, you were like, you know what, maybe my lifestyle, maybe dating over here in Thailand is
Yes.
much better suited.
Yes, I'm not the type to criticize Western women or dating practices of men or women in America.
Yeah.
But those of us who've lived it and done it know what I'm referring to in terms of the quality of the people you meet, the experiences you have, behavior and attitudes of men and women together, and it's just different here.
There's plenty of videos, in the past of talking about comparing dating Western women to dating women out here in Southeast Asia, in that region. I've been fault of making content about this, 2 years ago, but it's not something that I would constantly make videos about. There may be a problem for guys dating back home, but I would like to focus more on the solution. What are you going to do about it? Why don't you just change up your location and focus on dating and enjoying a much happier relationship over here?
I totally agree, and that's why I came here, and it wasn't necessarily just because there's beautiful Thai women here. There's women from all over the world here. I wanted something new, and I wanted something distant, and I wanted to be far away from America. I wanted to be somewhere where I could learn a language. I fell in love with Thailand 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I started traveling here.
And you always come here every year.
I would come here every year. Every year. Sometimes I've come here twice a year, sometimes every other year, but I would come regularly.
Yeah. So you're a well-seasoned traveler coming over here before making the big move.
Before making the big move.
You were telling me in our previous conversations that you had a lot of health issues going on before you decided to retire early. Maybe stress from working at Wall Street. What happened?
I had a difficult time managing work-life balance when I lived in New Jersey and worked in Wall Street, and the kind of work I did and my commute schedule, and my lifestyle. I wasn't the type to get up and go to the gym at 5 a.m. I found it difficult to get to the gym at 8 o'clock at night when I come off the train coming home from New York. I had long hours during the day. Often my jobs had overnight, on call. It was very difficult to find the time to get to the gym regularly, and living on your own, cooking and eating healthy all the time. And I think I just struggled with it. And I had a variety of health issues. It started from edema. I would have my ankles swell from circulation issues. I had chronic back pain and lower back pain from sedentary sitting on the train or at work. I had a history of kidney stones. So kidney stones is one thing, but I also had psoriasis since my adult life, since I was about 27 years old.
Yeah.
So dealing with skin condition, chronic pain, edema, swelling, circulation issues.
And you also had massive weight gain.
I was about 230 pounds. I lost a lot of weight in 2008 and then put it back on, gained weight. It was around 200 pounds, 205 for a few years. That's grossly overweight for me, for my height. I'm almost 5'8", and it wasn't just the weight, it was the waist, and I had a big paunch. My health reflected that, so from my circulation, but I had skin issues and my circulation issues, and then...
Were you also on a lot of medication?
I wouldn't say so. It wasn't so much medication for that, but I didn't really have, I wasn't taking statins for cholesterol. What was the straw that broke the camel's back last year was, 2 years ago I had chronic pain from my spine and back and chest. I thought I was having a heart attack. I came back from Thailand trip and I was having sharp chest pains. Yeah. And then the pains along my arm and back, and I went for physical therapy for 4 months. I went for acupuncture and Chinese healing. I did everything to try to address what was the problem, and eventually I did get an MRI and work with an orthopedist. I have a cervical spinal compression issue. That was what was the pinching nerves was causing all the pain. And the option was either do nothing and just live with pain and try to bear it, maybe consider surgery if I was candidate for back surgery. One surgeon thought I was borderline, maybe not yet, but I was headed towards a surgical need. And then the third option was just get the epidural and retire, move to Thailand, get yourself healthy, and if I needed surgery, get it done here. But take that time, move. Now this is your body telling you it's time.
So this was all a culmination of years of working long hours, commute.
I think so. Commute. It's not just the working.
Food.
Even some of my. I wasn't totally sedentary,
Yeah.
although I did manage. I did struggle to manage my work-life balance. I was an active and strong road cyclist, and so road cycling on a bike, leaning forward and looking up. Even my bicycling contributed. My passion for road cycling contributed to the pain I was having in my spine, or the degradation of my spine.
So that very moment was that you just mentioned was like, you know what? I think it's time to retire early.
It's time to retire early. In my mind, I was prepared to work another 1-2 years, maybe get to 63, 64. When my health deteriorated last year so much, the money wasn't worth it. An extra year or two of work and what I could have earned wasn't worth it at that point. My health became more important to me than the money.
What would have happened if you worked that extra 1 to 2 years?
Probably the same thing. They probably would have laid me off anyhow, and I would have gotten a severance check, and I probably would have come to Thailand anyhow. But I could have gotten sick, or I could have, who knows, maybe I would have. I felt like I was heading towards a heart attack.
Could have been life-threatening.
Could have been. Maybe
Yeah.
It wasn't. In retrospect, it was just spinal compression. I had pain that an epidural and weight loss could help.
Yeah.
But I was burnt out from Wall Street anyhow, and it was my time, and I wanted to leave Wall Street on my terms. I wanted to begin my new life here, and I was ready to, and that's why I made the big leap. But I think my leap is something that is common. Many men and women have done or want to do. I think I'm fairly typical of that type of American who's of my age, who wants to find a happier life and life balance here in Thailand and live a little bit easier and healthy and so on.
So you made the decision to quit, or not quit, sorry, to early retire.
Yes.
What did your sons think about you of your decision?
Doing it, I rock. Dad rocks. They
So
were,
the sons were super supportive from the
They
get-go.
were super supportive. It's
awesome.
their dream too, to retire early someday after their own careers.
Yeah.
But they saw what Wall Street was doing to me, and they knew where.
That's so awesome.
My
Your
dream,
kids were supportive. I like
Absolutely. I sacrificed years for them, making sure they had the best and opportunities for their education and until their careers. I'm here in part because their careers and their lives are so good, and they're so set with their young careers and their marriages, that I have no more. I don't worry as a parent anymore. I'm free to come here. My sons are supportive. My whole family's supportive. But I did good as a parent. My sons are awesome, and
You've done your duty as a father.
Absolutely.
They're well taken care of. Nothing to worry about.
nothing to worry about. It's really what makes me feel free to come here and comfortable, that I'm not. I don't feel like because I'm in Thailand, I'm abandoning my family or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, you moved here, what, about a year and a half? Roughly?
A year ago. 1 year ago.
1 year ago. So not that long. So you moved here 1 year ago. What were some noticeable changes? Health is probably one of them, right?
Health, everything. I mean, I imagine not having to go into your corporate America job anymore. Imagine not having that responsibility, and every day, it's your job is to basically take care of yourself and be I consider myself like a personal trainer with one client. Myself. That's what I do. I take care of myself now. My priorities were to take care of my problems, not someone else's problems. I took care of everyone else's problems for years, at the office, at home. I came here to take care of my life while I still have, I think at 62, I mean, I hope and expect I'll be feeling young and healthy for many, many years. But reality is the years when you're healthy at 62, I think it's fair to say, well, the next 10 years, I got good years. I got 10 good years ahead of me. You never know what happens at 65 or 70 or 75. Who knows, health-wise, what comes up. But I feel there's still youth and vitality left in my life at 62.
What is your opinion of some of those attributing factors living here in Thailand that lets you focus on strictly health? Do you think it's probably because of the much lower cost of living?
Everything, yes. The low cost of living allows us, guys like me or expats or Americans or Westerners, to live here low cost, where we have access to beautiful gyms, close gyms. The city it's a walking city. You don't need mass transit. I lost weight because I don't have a car anymore, and I walk like I've never walked before.
Bangkok lets you walk everywhere.
Walk everywhere.
Everything's so close.
Everything's so close. And who wants to be on a treadmill when you could walk through Benchakiti or Benchasiri Park or Lumpini Park? Bangkok feels like a town where everybody is beautiful and health conscious. It's almost like a type of Los Angeles where, and you feel that, you get that when you're here. You feel that, and it's motivating.
Yeah.
It motivates you to get to the gym and do your work and stick to your diet and do those things you have to do to hit your health targets.
And then on top of that, Thailand has a very sabai culture, so then
very
that merges with one another.
Absolutely, and
your mental health.
As much as good hard work and workouts and long walks and runs and gym, so is the massage. I may have moved to Bangkok because of the cost of massage. In America, I feel the massage it's almost prohibitively expensive. You can get it. Yeah. You can get it, but it's expensive. And I used to go once, twice a month. It's expensive to go every week,
I would imagine 80 to $100.
On the cheap side, that's on the cheap side for 1 hour.
Wow.
So, but here it's so cheap that it really is a part of your health and wellness to have your spine worked on. Imagine how lucky I am that I get my spine worked on 3 times a week. Imagine how lucky I am.
I mean, one of the best things about here in Thailand, especially here in Bangkok, is that there's plenty of massages, there's plenty of sports massages, specialty care, all at affordable pricing.
Yes. I've had acupuncture here in Thailand, 800 baht. What is that, $20? Where are you going to get? Where are you going to get that in America? Yeah. I've gone for, they call it ultrasound shockwave therapy on my plantar fasciitis, my foot.
Yeah.
And I go regularly for that, and that I've never even seen that in America. And but even just the Thai massage that's around here, it's so high quality, and it's a part of it. Really helps everything in terms of your posture, your back, your pain management, everything. Yeah. It is for me, it's therapeutic. One of the things it bothers me is people think that in Thailand, massage is only about this happy ending business. While that definitely here in this town, it's not the only thing. I think the best massage is just what you see, the regular massages everywhere.
The whole happy ending stuff is just a small portion.
It's right. I mean, it's a misconception to think that's what massage is in Thailand. Everybody thinks, oh, you massage happy ending. Like, you don't get it. If that's what you think, then you haven't. And it's only by people who haven't been to Bangkok.
It's one of the best places where I get plenty of knots all over my neck. Like, I need massages quite a bit, and it's and getting like an hour and a half, 2 hour massages really does help your overall mood and wellness.
Mood, wellness, my sleeping.
Yes.
I sleep so well after, evening massage. Oh my goodness. I feel very lucky to be able to live here, pursue all of my health and wellness goals here, and I think I don't think I could achieve my goals in America like I can here. Yeah. I don't think I could. It's just different in America. Getting to the gym, driving everywhere, the seasons. Sometimes, in the winter, I get the winter blues like a lot of people get. Here it's sunny and warm all year long. I mean, this is a great place to retire and take care of yourself. It's warm all year long. Food is healthy and delicious.
Yeah, there's no added preservatives or chemicals or all the stuff that you hear about back home.
Exactly. Even when I eat just at the markets nearby and locally, you get your proteins, your beef, your fish, your vegetables, your salads. You don't have to eat all the rice.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat all the pasta. I don't eat pad thai and noodles all the time. You can really focus. I think it's easy. And this is a town where there's a lot of temptation for delicious food, fried foods.
So much good food.
So much good food, and I could eat all of it. All the street food is wonderful, delicious. I've never gotten sick from any of the street food, and I love it. But do I eat it all the time? No, because I'm very careful about every meal and what I eat, and I don't want to eat any fried. I had fried chicken last month it looked so good. I finally, after 6 months, I'm having some fried chicken because it looked so good. And it was awesome.
Well, it sounds like your physical and your mental health and wellness is at a pretty optimized right now here in Bangkok.
Yes.
You're eating much healthier. Speaking with you, your overall mood has been significantly much better. I know you've only been here for a short time, just a year. Do you see yourself living out the rest of your years here, or do you plan on maybe moving somewhere else?
For now, I'm looking only 1-2 years ahead in my life. I don't know 5 or 10 years ahead, but yes, I came here to live here. I'll renew my retirement visa every year. At least for the next year, I'll probably stay here in Krampong. And if I decide to move, eventually might be to a different area of Thailand.
Okay.
It is my intention to stay here in Thailand and visit my family and friends back home at least once a year.
Final concluding question. What is one advice you can give for our audience out there?
To come here and be happy and healthy, I think requires, if you're going to plan a expat retirement path like I did, you have to number crunch. The first thing that you have to do is come up with your financial plan for your retirement. Where's your money going to come from? Your Social Security, your life savings. Are you a master of your cash flow and your investments and your portfolio? And can you live safely and comfortably, and including the cost of health insurance? So you have to consider everything, not just this wonderful cost of living here in Thailand. It's cheaper. Do your number crunching. Come here prepared. Know your cash flow. Know your income, your expenses, being able to afford living here. I feel bad for those who come here, Westerners that have to work. They have to pay the rent. And of course, everybody works. Everybody has to pay the rent. I get that. But it's harder for expats to find that kind of work here. It's harder to do that. For guys like me who want to retire here, just number crunch. Know what your Social Security is going to be, or what your pension is. What's your 401k? What's your distribution strategy going to be? Or know your tax consequences of things. Be a master of that. And then when you're good with it, then you can really make that move, because I think the happiest and the safest way to move here is when you're prepared to move here. And
good financial discipline and
budgeting and health. Health is important. The hospitals here are top notch. The medical system here is the best. I came in here, in fact, because I thought getting surgery here was a better option for me here than in America. That said, if you have chronic health issues, it may be harder to bring them here. When you're getting into new health insurance and it might be, unless you are sure you can maybe overcome and get healthy. Another thing is, you don't want to bring any emotional baggage with you.
Yeah.
And if you have emotional baggage that you're trying to run away from, coming here ain't going to help.
Yeah.
You want to come here with a good head and a good wallet and a good state of being and a good attitude.
Yeah. Peter, you're awesome. You are a huge inspiration, and you are somebody that I hope that once I reach your age, I'm going to have a fantastic health and mental outlook on everything.
Thank you, Forrest. I've been an admirer of your channel for years, and watching your channel has it helped me stay on my dream. That's another advice for any followers out there. Content creators like Forrest do so much more than they may realize in terms of keeping guys like us, men and women, inspired on our dreams, coming here. I kept on my dream because I kept watching content like yours and other YouTube and saying, that's what I want, that's the life, right? Those neighborhoods, those places, those types of people, I appreciate the work that you've been doing.
Peter,
and
thank you so much.
Forrest, and I'm so glad we met in the gym too.
Likewise.
That's pretty cool.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Peter, thanks for doing this video. And I just want to thank the audience. Thank you guys. We're going to conclude the video out here behind each other, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.